All right, so first, let's just clear up the fact that there is a such thing as evolution in the sense that animals can gain certain traits that are more beneficial to their environment and that they can pass down over time. So a perfect example is just us humans. Those of us who grew up in hotter climates like Africa, South America, we tend to, or the Middle East for that matter, we tend to have darker skin. We gain more pigment that's able to block out the UV rays, the harmful UV rays of the sun, thicker hair, while people who live in colder climates, who grew up in colder climates, I'm talking about over thousands of years, hundreds of years, they have lighter skin. They have less pigment so that they can absorb more of those UV rays. So we're not talking about just evolution as far as gaining traits over time. We're talking about actual evolution. We're saying the world being created from a big bang, and then somehow from a microbe or whatever started life, that little organism turning into what we see today. Okay, the very first question you gotta ask is, why does everything mate? Why does everything come in twos, male and female? Because that's the very first thing you have to ask, because that's a huge problem with evolution. If everything needs two in order to reproduce, then that means everything had to evolve in twos. And how logical is that? Everything evolved in twos, so we have millions of species, but every species evolved into the same exact species in the same exact period of time, all right? So that this species can now mate and have offspring. But now each species now has to have two offspring, and then the young have to now mate. We don't see that pretty much ever in the wild. How often do we see siblings mating in the wild? So even if it started like that, just think about how improbable that is, that a microbe turned into any type of animal, a male and a female, that male and female was able to figure out what type of food it needed to eat. Because the food, I guess, evolved at the same time. So the perfect food for this animal evolved at the same time. So this animal was able to find that food, because some animals eat grass, some animals eat fruit, some animals eat leaves, some animals eat other meat. And so the food was here, or the food evolved, and then that animal then evolved two of them, male and female. That male and female was able to find a way to learn what food it needed to eat to sustain its life, found the food within its lifetime, because if it dies off, that species is done, because this is the first one, or the first two. All right. And so those two, they found the right food. They had two children, two offspring or more. Those offspring inbred, and those offspring were also able to thrive, survive, and go. And just think about that happening with the human species. So male and female evolved somehow from whatever animal, found the right foods that we need to eat. Just say we only ate plants. We're able to survive without being attacked by all the other animals. We know, based on archaeological evidence, that there were some pretty ferocious animals here before humans, like dinosaurs. We don't know exactly what they look like. We got some skeletal remains that show they were pretty fierce, and we were able to survive amongst them. Or just say if we went down the line and say that the dinosaurs are gone, but you still have things like saber-toothed tigers, mastodons. We can go down even further, because all these predators were here before mankind. And so mankind, this weak soft species, was able to evolve fast enough to figure out how to create fire to eat, fire to survive in the night, fire to keep us safe from the mosquitoes and all the different bugs, to keep predators away from us at night. But remember, just two of us, because the male and the female started with just two, right? Just evolved male and female, and they figured that out, figured out how to create fire, figured out how to create weapons to fight. This world is too inhospitable to give us the time to figure that out. We wouldn't have had time to figure that out. That would have taken thousands of years. I mean, just the first, I would say, 1,000 years would have to be just us figuring out what foods to eat and how to survive the cold, how to survive all the elements alone, not even thinking about figuring out how to fight. You know, we would have to run and hide in caves or do something, but just thinking about that, just think about it logically. The odds of all of that happening without the first man and woman that somehow evolved at the same time, because we only live, 60, 70, 80 years. We can only reproduce maybe 30 years of our life. So they both evolved in that same time frame where they were less than 30 years apart. Male and female grew up from children who grew up from children because they couldn't have evolved into adults, right? Or is that the theory? Did they just evolve in adults? You know, this young boy evolved. Everything comes here as a baby. I mean, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. You know, it gets to the point where if you're told a lie long enough, you'll start to believe it. But if you just sit down and think about it, how did the first human look? What was he? Was he a baby? Was his first days as an infant? Or was his first days as an adult? Did he come from a monkey? Was he able to mate with other monkeys, but he was still a human? I can give you 1,000 different questions to let you know it does not make sense, because we were created by the Creator. And you know that if you've already watched Pure Power and you've seen where we come from, you've seen the structures we built in the past, you've seen the pyramids, you've seen the Sphinx, you've seen what we are and where we come from. We are special. We are not something that just evolved randomly. So never let anybody tell you that you are a product of evolution, because you are a product of something special. And I won't put a name on it. I won't tell you exactly what it is. You can do your own research. Pure Power. The link will be in the description. But you know and I know we are special. So let's live in that and let's rise. So as you already know, this is a journey. We're going to make it to the end together. So like, subscribe, and share. Let's heal.